Hello there. So today's lesson, we saw this example, and I think some of you weren't very confident. So what I'm going to do in these sessions is just to make a recording so you can pause and reflect and absorb some of the informations that may not be so clear in the lesson. Okay, so we are asked to solve this equation. It's called an equation because it's got equal and it's got a common variable. So therefore, we can solve this. If this was x and that was y, you can only rearrange the equations. Okay. So um, if you have seen my other video about logarithm, perhaps you could watch that one first. So just in short, having a log, it just help us bring the index down to becoming coefficients because we can't solve an equation where the variable is a power. In GCSE, if you didn't know the functions log, you couldn't possibly have done. You could not possibly have solved that. Okay, so already, in fact, it's already given you log, which is why it's quite generous. I could have given you this equation without the log in it, and then makes it a little bit harder. Okay, so now they're very generous. They are giving you log already, which means you can apply the rule log ax equal to x log a. That is simply a way in which the rule says that we can bring x down as a coefficient as shown. So there will be no more index, no more power, and that makes solving equation a lot easier because we can go back to the traditional way using adding, subtracting, divide, times, etc. Okay, so that's our first step. So we are going to turn those power, bring it down so we can deal with x in an easier way. So next step will be writing all those index as a coefficient. And now, of course, I can put in the calculator log 14. So if I do that, I would have not so nice number. So we got a sort of decimal fractions. Okay, so it's best not to do that as yet. Let's try and simplify this and do that right towards the end in one go. Okay, because don't forget, if you do that, you will have to do the log 9, and I can assure you that's not a nice number either. Okay, so let's look at this and like we did in lesson. So what did I do now? Now, as a pupil, I would be thinking, well, if I want to solve equations, I want to find x equal to, well, currently I've got x on this side and I've got x on this side. How can I get x out? Well, at the moment, it's inside a bracket with 3. So I can throw the x to this side, but I can't because I have to somehow get rid of the plus 3 first so that x is on its own. So the only way I can manage this is to expand the bracket. So so instead of having adding, I could have a factor. So let's expand this. So I won't write expand. I'm just going to use arrow to show that I'm multiplying a term. This is one single term, by the way. Okay, one term times x, and this term times 3. So that is log 14 times 1, which is just log 14. Subtract x times log 14 is x log 14. And then x log 9, adding 3 log 9. Okay, so now I could now put the whole term onto this side and then this term onto this side, so then all the x on this side. Okay, however, if I do that on this side, then they will have a minus, and I thought maybe easier way to look at this is you don't always have to have x on the left hand side. You can have x on the right hand side as well. So I'm going to take this whole term in. I'm going to do that in red. This whole term, remember, you've got to carry the minus as well. I'm going to throw it to this side. And then I'm going to take this term and I'm going to move it to this side. So then the sign will become the opposite, yeah, because you're actually minus 3 log 9 on both sides. And then this side you are actually adding x log 14. I will use a different color. Adding x log 14, and you must also add x log 14. So remember, what you do to one side, you do the same to the other side. So if I want to get rid of this, I have to subtract it. So I must subtract it on this side as well. And so quite simply, that subtract that is just 0. So that's why I will strike that off. And that add this is going to become 0. So that means I can now write log 14 minus 3 log 9, which I forgot to write. So log 14 minus 3 log 9 is equal to x log 9 plus x log 14. So this is good. Because they're all numbers, so I can always put this into the calculator and get an answer. But I got these terms I need to deal with in order to get x on its own. Now, if you can't see this, possibly in lessons, maybe you've gone a bit rusty. So imagine you have 9x plus 14x. Okay. So imagine you have 9x plus 14x. Of course, you could then say, right, hang on, they're both x, so 9x plus 14x is 9 plus 14x, isn't it? So I can do the same here. I could now say, well, that's basically my so-called 9. That's my 14, except I have to write the log. So I could write log 9 plus log 14x. Yeah? And so this side stays the same. Oh, sorry, I changed color pen, haven't I? So, so now I can get rid of this term, because this term, if you think about it, imagine you have 2x. To get rid of 2 is to divide by 2, because it's 2 times x. To get rid of this term is multiplying by x. So what I have to do is to divide this side by itself. So I must also divide this side the same thing, which is the balancing equation again. And that same thing, they cancel out, becomes 2 over 2 is 1, 1x, 1x, 1x. Yeah. So that means my x is equal to, if you don't mind, I'm going to keep my x on the left hand side because it's the same as me flicking this whole thing left and right. Yeah. So x is equal to that. Okay. Put that in the calculator, because it's now just pure number. You should get, I believe, if I remember, minus 0.817. And then it's got decimal fractions as well, so let's round that to 3, significant figure. Okay, so that's how you do it. I can't seem to find I can't seem to think any if there's another way, etc. But this is, I think, the most comprehensive way. The only thing, as I said in lessons, is the first line you use the law. The rest is just playing with the it's like algebra, just moving things around. Okay, so do watch this video again, pause it, see where you don't understand, and if you can tell me, I will try to explain to you in lessons or maybe do another video. But I hope this helps. Okay, thank you.